Charles Alexander interviewing with the experts here. Today, I'm bringing you my friend Bill Slepcevich. Bill is the CEO and founder of Slepcevich Financial Group. He's going to talk to us a little bit about how he went from astronaut school to Marine Corps to now focusing with his entire family on retirement planning, investments, as well as insurance. Not to mention, he's going to give us some real sharp tidbits on the holy grail of, wait for it, building your business through referrals and education. Not to mention, he's got one of the smartest, less than $100 purchases I've heard lately, and I completely agree with him. Enjoy. Thanks for joining me. Today I've got Bill Slepcevich here with me, founder and CEO of Slepcevich Financial Group in Naples, beautiful Naples, Florida, where it's a family-owned and operated practice. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, having gotten to know Bill over the years, they specialize in helping you and your family grow. And that's something they've done an excellent job with. So, Bill, thanks for joining me, friend.
Well, you're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Bill, if you don't mind, tell us a little bit about your background and your story, kind of a varied background to kind of get you to where you are today.
Okay, that's a pretty simple story. I grew up in Gary, Indiana, a good place to be from.
Sure.
Worked in the steel mills in the summer and knew I didn't want to do that for a living. Went away to college. My sophomore year, my father became terminally ill. So I quit college and went home and worked because I had a younger brother and sister at home. Eventually, my dad passed away. I was getting ready to go back to school. And this was the hippie era.
Oh yeah.
And
were you rocking the tie dyes and hip necklaces?
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
So I didn't seem to get along with those types of people. So I did something other people thought was drastic. I joined the Marine Corps.
Whoa, especially around that time.
Yeah, especially around that time. At boot camp, they decided I was officer material, so they sent me to OCS. I had a buddy talk me into going to flight school. So I did that for a while. It was in the astronaut program. And then I had something go wrong with my inner ears. So I bounced out of the astronaut program, became an infantry officer. My goal was to become the commandant. That didn't work out. I had my leg messed up and I got a disability discharge in 72. So this goes back a long way.
Sure.
Wasn't sure what I wanted to do with my life at that time. So I went home. My mom still lived there and my brother and sister, and got a job with a contract cleaning firm, cleaning large buildings.
Okay.
I started out as a mid-manager. Within 1 year, I was actually running the company for the owner, and I decided, you know what, I'd like to buy this company. So I talked to the owner. He was willing to sell it to me. But I found out very early on that when you're 28 years old with a lot of confidence, but you don't have any money, the banks won't loan you any money.
No, that's 100% correct. There's a reason for that too.
Yeah. So then a guy that used to work for me called me up. He was working for New York Life, and he wanted to sell me some insurance. And I said, George, first of all, I don't like insurance people, so
Right.
quit calling me. And fortunately for me, his manager called me a couple of weeks later. He said, assuming you're open-minded, I'd like to talk to you about a career. And what was I going to say? I'm not open-minded, right?
That's always, hey, for anybody watching, that is the absolute trick question. If you want to get somebody to take a next step, well, you have to ask them if they're open-minded, because the opposite is saying, no, I'm closed-minded. I don't like doing anything new.
So I've used that line ever since.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And so I went in to see him. I wasn't too excited about it. About the second or third meeting, a couple things went through my mind. Number one, I saw it as an opportunity to own my own business without a large capital outlay.
Right.
And then I also started thinking about my situation with my mom, that, my dad didn't really have any insurance. I had to quit school, go back to work. So I thought, man, maybe there's something here.
Sure.
So I joined New York Life. They wanted me to go into management after 1 year. I said, no, I'm having too much fun. Leave me alone. The second year, they asked me again, and I saw it as an opportunity to change some of the corporate things that I didn't like about large corporations.
Okay.
Well, I beat my head against the wall for 13 years trying to change things. It didn't work out. So I opened up my own practice again
Sure.
in '89. By this time, we had got into investments as well. We'd vacationed in Florida since the late '70s, and our goal was to retire down here. In '94, we had 5 days in a row. It never got above 20 below zero. And I looked at my wife. I said, "Why do we live here?
Yeah, I understand.
I want to move to Florida now. I don't want to wait." So my kids were 8 and 11. We picked up, didn't know one person. We moved to Naples. There's an old saying, you go where the money is, right?
Right.
So Naples is a pretty nice town. Came to town, didn't know one person. First 4 or 5 months, I'd wake up thinking, oh my God, what did I do?
Sure.
But it's all worked out fine. My
and
initial approach was I'd walk into law firms and CPA practices and said, I want to meet your best attorney, estate planning attorney, or best CPA. And they want to know why. So, well, I want to see if they're smart enough to work with my clients. So my approach was probably the opposite of what most people do. We weren't looking for referrals. I was just looking for somebody that I thought was intelligent enough to because I had 20 years of experience by this time.
Sure.
And little by little, they became my clients. And
That's
once they
pretty
became
smart.
your clients, who did they refer business to?
That's right.
So we actually did workshops for about 1.5 years just to get to know more people. We haven't done a workshop in probably 24 years. Everything we do is referral business. We do little to no marketing. My son wanted to join me after college. I told him no. He was living up in Orlando. And he said, well, why not? Well, first of all, he wanted to be an economist. He wanted to be the next Greenspan.
Sure.
He's extremely intelligent. He looked at that career and said, Dad, I can't make any money. I want to come into business with you. I said, no, you can't do that.
Sure.
I said, I don't have the time to train you. I can't train you. You go somewhere else. If you like it, if you can do it, we'll talk down the road. So he joined another large mutual insurance company, worked there for 7 years, and finally saw the daylight and joined our firm in about 8 years ago now. And we both work the same way, referral business. We've got clients in 26 states.
Wow.
We have a lot of other reps or agents call us to do joint work. So I guess that's our marketing there. But
now, when you say other reps and agents, are you referring to insurance agents? You're talking about financial reps? Where are they located?
Yes. Yeah. A lot of them have heard about us. We've worked with some of their clients unknowingly, and they've called us, and they want us to work with other of their clients. So there's a guy down the street. I won't tell you his name. He's an annuity salesman. That's all he does.
Sure.
Well, when you have
an annuity that fits all situations, huh?
Yeah, and that's not true. Obviously, we know that. But we were talking to him one day. We were showing him what we were doing. He goes, "Well, would you show this to my clients?" I said, "Well, sure." So we split everything 50-50, and we tell them we'll do 10 cases with you up front, 50-50. After that, you're on your own. Well, we made this kid about $200,000 in 8 months.
Wow.
He figured he knew everything. He was going to go do it on his own. A year later, he called us back if he could still work with us. Because when our niche is education. That's what our niche is. We're not. It's education, right. Education and planning. A big question we like to ask everybody is, when would you like to learn that everything you believed to be true about money was not true?
So tell, what's your son's name?
Will. He goes by Will. I'm Bill. He's Will.
That makes it easy. So you're coming into this getting referrals from having done this for a long time, and you started off pretty intelligently by making sure you got out. And you said it was meeting with estate planners or maybe even attorneys to not just help them.
That was down here. Yeah, that was here. Once I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I didn't start that way in Indiana, but go ahead.
So but that's still an excellent way to start. I mean, you're out meeting and greeting, not just with people that could end up potentially being referral partners or adding value to your clients, but eventually they became clients. And then once they became clients, they're centers of influence, and they bring in their own people to you. Obviously, for anybody else, that's not an overnight strategy. That's something you got to start and
Takes
build
time.
slowly with.
Yeah.
How did Will, coming in after the fact, how did he build his book of business doing that? Or did he do it doing that?
Well, he built his book probably the same way I started mine, just by, developing relationships and getting referrals. When I was a manager, I was a big referral guy.
Right.
And, these guys wanted to try direct mail and this and that. And
Sure.
anything works if you do it enough. But I've always believed referrals are the best source of business. And so that's what I taught my agents, and that's what Will does.
So how do you guys continue to work on building referrals? And I even hate to bring this up because it's been the excuse for any and everything under the sun that we didn't want to do or nobody's wanted to do. But the past 2 years, and quite literally 2 years ago, I was sent home from my business coaching full-time business and say, hey, we're going to ride out this COVID pandemic thing. We'll come back in a couple of weeks. And it was months later before we got back in. So a lot of the financial advisors I've worked with over the years have said the exact same thing you did. Hey, we don't do a lot of marketing, but we do a lot of referral-based efforts. And that in itself is, of course, marketing. But how have you guys done it over the past couple of years?
It really hasn't changed at all. When I started doing those seminars years ago, and I looked at what I was spending, I thought, if I spend that same money with my clients developing those relationships, I'm going to be better off. So that we haven't slowed down at all. Our clients have become our best friends.
Right.
We go to lunch with them. We go to dinner with them. They say, hey, by the way, you should go talk to so-and-so. So it's still, the referral business has continued. The pandemic hasn't slowed us down at all. We've been doing Zoom meetings way before this ever happened.
Okay.
Just because we've got clients all over the country.
You got clients in 26 states, of course.
Yeah.
So the referral process, do you guys have a system in place, or is it you're not winging it?
Yeah. No, I guess the system has just evolved. Once they become a client, the bigger system, I guess, is the children, because being in Naples, all of our clients tend to be older. So we would, anytime the children come to visit, we say, let us know. We want to meet them face to face so they know who we are when something happens to you. We put them on our email blast so the kids know who we are. We offer our services to the children. We've probably got 4 or 5 families that are 4 generations deep now.
Wow.
And probably 6 or 7 clients I've never met face to face. Although we try to do that, because when we travel, we'll try to stop in and see somebody that we've never met. Although they've been a client, we've met just like you and I on the Zoom meeting.
Sure.
So it really hasn't slowed down.
So what type of in continuing to develop those relationships, you had mentioned a lot of it's through education and asking them what they want to know. How do you continue that education process with your existing clients?
That depends on the clientele. Our better clients, we meet every 90 days. And we try to teach our people a little bit about everything that we do. We don't want them to become the experts, but we want them to have enough knowledge when they hear these words out on the street or on the internet.
Right.
Oh, no, yeah, I've heard that before. I'm not clear. Let me call Bill and make sure I understand that. So that's the education process. It never stops.
Do you have specific, is it like a question answer session? Do you come into these 90-day follow-ups with specific, hey, this time we're going to talk about these 3 points? How are you doing those?
Well, we look at what products they have and what products they don't have. And if we think there's a product that they need, we'll work more on that to solve their issue. We used to do everything. We used to do long-term care. We used to do Medicare. We used to do group insurance. We don't do any of that. all we do is manage money and take care of life insurance. Now we've got other people we've got connections with. They do all those other things for us.
Okay.
So we just focus on what we think is the most important, and we farm everything else out.
So the financial planning piece, you guys are you handling the portfolios? Are you the ones that are in charge of diversifying and rebalancing it? You've got their time horizons in mind, and they fully understand how all of that works, or you're teaching them?
Well, we're teaching them.
Sure.
Yeah, we're teaching them. But yeah, that's most of the time is spent on the market and understanding it. Like when COVID happened last year, we only had one client that got scared and pulled out.
That's excellent.
Yeah.
And I don't even mean to interrupt you. I've just had, I'm a financial advisor enthusiast, if that's such a thing. I love keeping up with all of this stuff. That's one of the things I've, been trying to do with the financial advisors I've been working with, is just giving out some content that they can use to keep their clients in the market.
Sure.
And just personally, people that I know that pulled their money out, in like March or May of 2020, and didn't jump back in until the fall, and they don't even know how much money they just lost doing that. They just know It made them feel warm and fuzzy because they didn't have a bill or a will holding their hand. But you'd only lose one doing that is excellent.
Yeah, we were, well, again, we think that's because of the education. So right now, with the market being in flux, we haven't had any calls.
That's awesome.
Zero. So we attribute that to the education. And,
What
stuff that you put out too has to do with that, obviously.
And for anybody watching, I create explainer videos and animated videos and work with financial advisors. Mostly they're all educational, a lot of them marketing, but it's the very same concept to kind of keep people abreast of what's going on and to keep them hopefully from watching too much CNBC or getting the alerts on their phones that are designed to scare them to death. But Bill, being a good client, thinking of that, is there any new trends you see occurring in the financial world that you guys are kind of keeping up with, whether that is how you operate or that's tech-based, or just things you see occurring that you're planning for into the future?
Well, I've been doing this for so long. I actually was going to retire in 2004. I flunked retirement.
You did terrible.
I did a terrible job. Yeah. And so myself personally, we've cut back quite a bit. I'm only putting in like 4 or 5 hours a day now. But my son's, picking that up.
Sure.
I think the thing that I've learned is that all the things that these companies try to teach us so we can help our clients, they're not always valid. So I've seen all the mistakes that other advisors make.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen the mistakes that people make, whether knowingly or unknowingly, and so that's where our education thrust comes from. We just want to teach the truth about money. How does this stuff really work? Everybody's taught how to make money, right?
Right.
And then you go to some people that say, okay, put your money here, put your money there, but are we really doing the right thing? So 7, 8 years ago, I started questioning everything I'd been taught. And I'm like, you know what? When you do this for so long, you think, well, why are we doing it that way? And so that's where we started really getting heavy in education. We're more planning driven education.
Sure.
And, the other thing, about changes is you have to adapt and overcome. That's
that's a little hamburger hill for those watching. It'd probably be right up the Marine Corps alley.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Well, let's switch topics real quick.
Sure.
We're going to wrap up here in a few minutes, but talking about growing up in Gary, Indiana, that correct me, that's the Jackson 5 territory, correct?
Well, they came after I did. Yeah.
Gotcha.
They lived there.
Yeah, Jackson 5. And I think the other one was the Music Man, was out of Gary, Indiana.
That's right. Yeah, the song.
So growing up in Gary, Indiana, do you have any old high school fashion statements you wish you could take back?
I really don't. I really don't.
You were just that cool. You were Fonzie with the leather jacket, and it was all.
No, that wasn't me. No. I was more kind of straight and narrow guy back then, but
That's right. Everybody else was getting the long hair and the big glasses and
Yeah.
trying some psychedelics. And Bill took off to be a Marine astronaut. And look at you today, man.
So we
Uh,
had our class was very close. I've been to every 5-year class reunion we've ever had.
wow.
Pretty amazing.
How many people did you graduate with?
I think there was about 400,
Wow.
and now when we get together, there's 150 people show up.
That's still very impressive. So do you fly
It's
or drive?
no, we fly. Yeah, we fly, and they're not held in Gary anymore either.
Y'all have
There's
branched out.
yeah, we a little bit. Yeah.
Well, let me ask. This is another random one. What's the best under $100 purchase you've made lately?
Wow. Well, I guess one of my best purchases would have been free.
Oh, I like those. How much? Yeah, tell me where to find the free best purchase.
It's an app. It's called MyFitnessPal.
Ooh, I'm right there with you. Go
Have
ahead,
you
tell folks why it's so cool, though.
Well, you just put in what you've eaten for the day, and it
Yeah,
tells you how many carbs, how many proteins, how you're doing.
gives you a nice pie chart. That'd be right up any advisor's alley, right?
Yeah, yeah, it's wonderful.
And you can tie it. I've got a Fitbit, so it ties
Yeah,
in with that. And
yeah.
yeah, my wife got me an Apple Watch a while back. Bless her heart, I made her. It's awful. She gave it to me as Father's Day. Made her send it back because once I figured out you had to charge it for 90 minutes every day, and that it was
Really?
just another. Yes,
Wow.
yes. I mean, I still struggle with getting the Fitbit charged. Once a
Ah,
week. The idea that you charge a watch still blows my mind. But the the MyFitnessPal, excellent app. That's a good recommendation. So, Bill, tell us how, if folks wanted to reach out to you, talk to you later, how can they find you?
well, you can look at our website, which is sfgnaples.com. They can email me. It's wrs@sfgnaples.com. Or our phone number is 239-435-9433.
Bill, I really appreciate you taking the time to chat with me today. I learned a bunch of stuff about you that I would have never guessed. And hey, man, have a good time, and at some point, figure out that retirement piece. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes,
All
sir.
right, Bill. Thank you, friend.
You bet. Bye now.